Hello YouTube, this is Sonic2KK here, and welcome back to this series. Again, welcome back to the beginner game development series. I haven't figured out a name for it yet, but by the time you're watching this, I will have worked out a name for it. And yeah, this is going to be a beginner game development series. If you don't know what this series is going to be about, check out episode 0, which will be in the same playlist. If you're not watching in the playlist, you should. And episode 0 will explain what the series is about. If you still have questions, leave a comment either here or in episode 0. I'd recommend leaving a comment in episode 0. But without further ado, let's get started. So you've watched episode 0, you're ready to get into game development. And programming. So, what is programming? Well, programming is what is used to tell a computer what to do. Whenever you write code, you're giving the computer instructions to do something. So if I write code to make a game window pop up, or to make a player move, I'm writing code, and then that code gets compiled, which means it gets turned into what is known as C code, because Lua is the language we're using. It's a programming language, free, open source, and it gets turned into C code. C is a language which is on every computer, so you don't need to worry about downloading it. You will have to install Lua, which I will get to in a second, and then that computer will interpret that code, which means it'll read C code, and then C code will get compiled into binary. And binary is what the generic ones and zeros you see when people talk about programming. Like, if you hear about programming, I think, I have to constantly type 1 0, that sort of stuff. Well, you don't. You write code that is near pure English, because everything is abstracted, which means you don't need to know what is going on underneath. You just need to know what to do with Lua, and Lua will do the rest for you. The example I heard a while ago, this was about a year ago, was a car. People generally don't know how a car works. They just know that they turn the wheel to make the car move. They don't really know, or want to know sometimes, how the internals of a car work, like the engine. But some people do. Maybe a lot of people do, but there would be a lot of people out there that don't know how that stuff works. A lot of younger drivers. That's probably a terrible example, but hopefully you get the idea. You don't necessarily know what's going on underneath. You just need to write the code on top, and then the rest is handled for you. Yeah. So the ones and zeros is what is understood by the computer's processor, because the computer has a piece of machinery inside it called the processor. And the processor is what processes everything. It's like the brain. It's sometimes referred to as the CPU, the central processing unit. And if you ever hear a sort of noise in your computer, that's fans cooling down your CPU. Because the CPU heats up, because it has to do a lot. Whenever it does a lot, it heats up, and to stop it from overheating, because whenever your processor overheats, your computer shuts down, the fans go. But that's getting a little bit deeper than I want to get into. The CPU basically reads the code, understands it, and makes the things happen. So it'll make the game window show up. And this all happens well, depending on the size of your project, this should happen in a matter of seconds. Milliseconds even. And yeah, that's just a basic one, very, very basic and quick 1-2 about how that computer will work and interpret code. So enough about that, let's get into how we're going to write our code. Well, the language, as I said, we're going to use is called Lua. So go into your browser, a web browser. You should know what a web browser is. It's a piece of software used to browse the internet, in case you don't know. If you don't know, I don't know how you're watching this video, but go into Google or your favorite search engine and type in Lua, and then go to lua.org, and it should take you to this website. Lua is a fantastic free beginner open source language. You want to go here and you want to click download. You don't want to get source. Go for download. Yes, you want to get this download, and just go through it here. Building. Lua is implemented using pure ANSI C. Blah 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 blah. This is how you would build it in Linux. This is how you build it on Mac. I'm not sure how you would build it in Windows. You could probably look in the binaries for a Windows binary. A binary is basically just an executable, like a .exe or a .app. That's what a binary is. But yeah. So if you're on Mac, instead of using make Linux test, use make Mac test. Yeah. So that's it. After you do that, you should have Lua installed. Then you want to go to love2d.org. Don't go to love.org, that's a dating website, I believe. You don't want to go there, you want to go to here, lovetd.org, and if you see this, then you've went to the right page. Otherwise, I don't know where you are. So Love is an awesome, very awesome framework you can use to make 2D games in Lua. It's free, open source, and works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It also works on Android and iOS, but I will cover that later on in the series. It's very dark in my room for some reason. But yeah, so you want to go here and you want to download Windows, get the appropriate installer. Mac, get the appropriate installer, and on Linux or on Ubuntu, get the one you would need, the appropriate binary for you. Then if you're on other ones, on other Linux distros, then you should look for the Love source here and probably build it yourself, or ask on the Love forums. The Love forums is a place, and there's a lot of nice people here. As you can see, I posted on the Love forums very recently, 2:31, about an hour ago. And yeah, so you want to go there and you want to install Love. And then once you do that, you should get a screen like this. Love 0.9.1. You get a screen like this if you open up the Love game. You'll be able to resize it, because the latest Love version is called Baby Inspector. The last version was called Rubber Piggy, or Rubber Pig, I'm not sure. If you installed 0.8.0, you will see a spitting pig, and you have installed the wrong version. Got back my room again. Weird. Anyway, so once you have that installed, you want to download a text editor. A text editor is what you will use to write your code. A good text editor would either be Zero Brain IDE, because it's a Lua IDE. Oh, I can't see the access. Zero Brain IDE. There we go. You'll be able to go here and download it. You can use it with Corona Moi, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure what this one is. And Love2D. Love2D is the framework that we are using, of course. So you can use this. Good debugging for all these things. You can use this one, or you can use Sublime Text 3 or Sublime Text 2, whatever you prefer. This is a paid text editor. Well, it's free to try, but I believe once it comes out of beta, you will have to pay for it. It's not that expensive. It's only like £50. I think that's like $70, $80. It's not that expensive, but it's pretty steep. But it's a great text editor. It just depends on what you want. It's a text editor, not an IDE. Maybe you prefer Zero Brain. Maybe later on in the series I'll use Zero Brain. I'm still trying to work out how to use it and stuff. But then we'll make another video covering how to use Love with Zero Brain. But once you get set up with Sublime Text or Zero Brain has support for Love 0.9.1 built in, I believe, so you can build your code already. But with Sublime Text, you need to create what is known as a build system. A build system is what will build your code and compile it using Sublime Text. So if you go to lovetd.org, go to their wiki, and then software, and Sublime Text 2, you can find a build system here. So on Windows, copy this code, and then on Linux, copy this code. I believe on Linux you just change this with the appropriate directory. So you copy this. I use Command C to do that, and then you go into your tools, build system, new build system, paste this in, save it, and then save it as Love. Well, you can save it as whatever you want, 0.9.1, but I already have it saved, so I don't need to do that. And then what you want to do is go into Tools, Build System, and select this. Select Love 0.9.1 or whatever you called yours. And then if you build it, you need to make a file called main.lua. So you make a new file, save, and call it main.lua. I say I want to override it just for example purposes. I'll override it. And then you want to press Command B or Control B on Windows or Mac, or on Windows or Linux rather, and you should get a window that says Untitled, a window that looks something like this, appropriate for your operating system. And if you see this, then everything has gone well and you have actually set up your Love application. And this is the basis, well, almost the basis for our game. This is the utter basics. This is as simple as it gets. It may have taken a while to set up, but once you have it set up, you're on your way to writing games and programming. So in the next tutorial, I'll get into actually writing some Lua code. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.